Hello. So I want to talk about the time I went to a mega church, and they used to come pick us up on like this white bus, and everything was fine. We were like, I was living like a pretty bad neighborhood, so we were going out into the county, and it was like a bunch of us, like the entire like two neighborhoods full, right? And it would get people from all over the place, I guess, because the pastor was, in my opinion, narcissistic, and I'm gonna tell you why pretty soon. So we would come to do all these big events and go to church and go to like Bible study. Every Sunday they would pick us up and all these things. It was a church that had like its own school and everything. So we're going to church, and oh my goodness. So they wanted to be like Joyce Myers, I guess, and they wanted to have like it recorded, and I didn't know they were doing this, but they were recording things. They sold Bibles. They were like those type of people. Tell me, oh my goodness, like I can't like say it without laughing, because I was in shock. Like I was like in actual shock. So one day we're sitting in the back of the church, and all of the other people, like everyone who comes on the buses, right, from like lower income neighborhoods, was sitting in the back of the church. The regular congregation and church, whatever, they were sitting like in the front in the rest of the church. Well, I had friends who went to the regular church, and they were like, come sit with us, and like they were lovely to me. So I'm like, are you sure? Like because it was like kind of like everyone was starting to sit down, so like I was like nervous, like I didn't like want to be the only one moving, but then other people started moving, so like okay, fine, like because they kept like, no, come. So I came and sat with them, and we were just oh my goodness. So the preacher or pastor or whatever, he goes up, he's like at the pulpit or whatever, and he was like up there about to like I guess give the sermon and like introduce himself and like us. And oh my goodness, like he looks at me, he's like, go back to your seat. And I'm like, I'm in shock because like I'm a kid. Everyone around me is shocked because it was an adult who asked me to come up there with them. Like it was kids and adults. Like these people were asking me. I didn't ask to go up there. Like I was just sitting. I didn't really even know what was going on half the time because we had just gotten there, and it was like, if you're really being real about it, it was like showboaty, like he was doing it for attention. But I didn't realize that at the time. Like me just being a regular Christian girl, I thought he was doing it at the kind of like I thought he was an actual good pastor, because that's what I grew with people who like actually gave back to their community, not just for showboat. But so he said it aggressively, like harshly, like he was like, go back to your seat. And I was like, I'm like in shock, I can't see it. And the lady's like, I asked her to come over, and he looks at me, he's like, go back to your seat. Mind you, he's on the speaker. He's like, go back to your seat. This seating is for the real church members. When I tell you the gasp that let out in that like mega church, everyone was appalled. Everyone was appalled because it's like, are you serious? One, I'm a child. I had to be like 10 or 11. I was like a really young kid, and I didn't ask to be up there. Everyone knew that I was, called for. People wanted me to sit with them because like I was friends with them. And he targeted me and tried to make an example out of me. Like it was so freaking weird to me. I genuinely was just so disgusted by it. And I didn't say anything because like I was like in shock. And the lady was like, I asked her to be here. He was like, well, I just think that everyone should sit where they regularly sit for now. Mind you, I had never actually been in there because the kids, like, we didn't really go into like the big church. We stayed with like, the youth. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this is so weird. Like this is so uncomfortable. And everyone started walking out because that's like, they were appalled. And like the elder ladies were like, you need to apologize to her. That was so inappropriate. Like, how dare you? A guy who was like a deacon, I believe. I don't know who he was, but like he was upper in the church. I think that his dad actually was like the old pastor, and he was like, let me talk to you, and like pulled him to the side, like pulled him in the back, and then he came out with like red eyes. It was like, I'm gonna apologize to you, and like, but I need you to make this right and like let everyone know that like we're okay or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And it's crazy, like, he put the responsibility on me as if he wasn't the one who like tried to publicly humiliate me in front of everyone, and that he wasn't in the wrong. And I'm just like, no. And he's like, well, I don't think you should come back to church. And I was like, I don't want to come back to the church. But the so like, again, we got picked up on buses. All of the bus drivers and like the people who went to that church kept trying to get me to come back, and like I refused to go. I was not going there. Like, you're using us to look like you're a good person so that you can get money. It's disgusting. I was so offended, like, and appalled. And he was like really mean to his wife too, but she was used to it. Like, when he did that, like, she just bowed her head in shame, and like her face turned blood red. I felt bad for her, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's like one of those reasons why a lot of people leave the church. But yeah, everyone walked out when he did that. Like, they started leaving, like, yeah, we're not gonna stay for this. And I think he got caught on camera. He was like, yeah, let's stop rolling the cameras. Oh my goodness, he was like, I'm not gonna start until you go back to your seat. Like, he had some like issue with me. I don't know, like, I'm a kid. I don't know why you're beefing with me as a child, but you need help. Like, you're a grown man, you need help. I don't know if he's still the pastor there. I don't really care because I don't like him. But yeah, he was a creep. That was so weird. People were so offended. Like, they could not believe. Like, they were like, you know how they start whispering, like, I cannot believe he did that to that little girl. What is wrong with him? And then people were like walking out. And he acted like I needed to make it right. One, like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but do you think that the people wouldn't see that you were in the wrong still, and that a child shouldn't be making things right in this situation, that you should be? Narcissism is insane. Like, I really wish I would have knew how deep it went back then, because I genuinely just thought narcissism, again, like, was, you know, someone is very full of themselves, or like, you know, maybe egotistical. I did not know it was like, I need to be the center of attention 24/7. I think he was mad because the people who were calling me up there they were wealthy. I'm not gonna lie, they were well off, and they were huge contributors to the church. So I don't think he liked the idea that I was like close with them. And it wasn't even like that serious. Like, I didn't really get like, why are you tripping like that? But I think he was intimidated by that. I think he was intimidated by the idea that there was like a film crew who was like not from there, so like they were reporting on us. And I think that he didn't want like me or anyone else to get like attention, because he wanted to be the center of attention because he was the pastor. And I don't know, I also think he was jealous of that family too, because I don't know, they were wealthy, and I just feel like he was kind of like fixated on them. Like, you know, like people who like social climb, which is like, do you? But if you're gonna attack children, do you think that they're really gonna respect you? That's insane to me. It's so insane. Like, I do not like that church, because once I realized like you're using us to, you know, be, how do you say, like, you're using us to get clout, or to pretend you're like a good person, like that savior complex, but it's really just for attention. Oh my goodness, Dr. Romney talks about this, but I forgot what she called it. But basically, like, the people who, here's a fundraiser, but look at me giving back. That's who he was. It was so insane. And I'm just like, I don't care to be here. Like, you guys stop at my house and blow your horn for hours. Like, every Sunday, you blow your horn outside of my house for like 20 minutes. I don't come out because I don't want to come. I've said I don't want to come, and you sit there and try to demand I come, but then you have like this like nasty, snarky attitude. Like, what is this? That's not parasocial, I don't think. But like, what is that type of like weird type of relationship dynamic with someone you don't know, and but you don't like, oh, it's like the bully victim complex, I think. I don't know, but it's insane to me. And it was a lady on that bus who, she like did like the Sunday school, she did like the schooling for like the Christians, and you could go to the academy. I was like, oh, like I would like to go to something like that, because I have been into like, you know, potentially going to Catholic school at the time. And she was like, oh, no, you shouldn't go, but like with a snarky attitude. I was like, it's so weird. It's like, why do you want to be around us? But like, I don't know. It was weird. So yeah, basically they were just using us to, you know, make themselves look better, but they were rude to us. And when people like us, because people will like us, right? And they would try to interfere, him in particular, but the other people too. But yeah, that's all for this little story time. Let me know, have you ever experienced something like this? Because it was crazy, and I'm like, what the hell? It's a lot of fake Christians who try to use people, use children to make themselves look better, but they really don't care about impoverished communities. They don't care about kids struggling. They just want to put on an image so they can get funding and get people to donate to them, when really they're not good people. And I know I'm not the only one with horror stories, so let me know what you have experienced or seen. And I'm sorry, I have asthma, and my asthma is torn up in this video, so let me know. Bye.